What do you think about the pillow? I kind of like the pillow.
I kind of like the pillow up there.
Oh, there it is. Nice. All right. So, basically, this video, I'm going to be going into full detail on what led to my relapse. And I really want to preface this by saying that none of these are excuses for my relapse. You know, quarantine, for example, it's not an excuse for my relapse. I relapsed because I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. And that's the bottom line. And I want to really make sure you guys know that I don't think that, I was a victim of any circumstance. It is what it is, and I have this problem. Some call it a disease. You can call it whatever you want, but I can't. I'm powerless to these substances. I'm just telling my story. That's all I can do. I'm not giving advice because everybody's different. All I can do is tell my truth. So this is how it went down with me. So basically, I got sober July 28th of 2019. I remember that because it was my little brother's birthday, and I missed his birthday because I was fucked up and hungover and shit. So I'll always remember that date. And I made the video where I told you guys about my sobriety when I had about 150 days, because I felt like that was a good point where I felt like I at least knew a little bit to be able to talk about it rationally. And at that point, when I made that video, I was still sort of in what they call in AA, I was in a pink cloud, meaning I was all about it, all about sobriety and this new way of living. I wanted to, shout it from the rooftops and shit. So I got to around 250 days, and I was hyped on getting my 1 year. You can get in some meetings, you get a chip or whatever. I was hyped to have a year of sobriety. That is insane for me. If I thought a couple years ago that I would have a year of sobriety, that was ridiculous. And then around January, I started releasing music for the first time in a long time. January 1st, I released Lady Sunday. And this is when I started to feel dry. And what dry means is basically you don't want to be, you're sober due to circumstance. You're not sober because you want to be. Dry means you're barely hanging on. You're clenching the wheel, you know what I mean? Some of the reasons I was feeling so dry is releasing music turned out to be a huge trigger for me. I was so used to, my whole career pretty much, whenever I would release new music, my sort of tradition was to drink away all my feelings so that if it went well, I was drinking to celebrate, and if it went poorly, I would drown my feelings away and not give a fuck and be like, I don't give a fuck. As an alcoholic, you make excuses to drink. Getting off stage is an excuse to drink if a show went well. If the show went really poorly, even better excuse to drink because you're like, fuck it all. So it's all, but then what it all comes down to is, wait a sec, I just drink for everything. I'm just, it's not, yeah. Anyways, Lady Sunday dropped. It was
First time you released music sober?
First time I released music sober in, I don't know how long, because I took a long break, right? And it was scary because I hadn't released music in general in a long time, so it was like putting myself out there and doing it soberly so I couldn't drown out my fucking, if people hated it, whatever. So I was just in my head, self-doubt, running rampant. Yeah, it was fucking scary, man. And that's when I started getting real dry because I was just like, damn, how nice would it be to just to drop this and then go hit a bar and just drink and then look at the comments drunk and not give as much of a fuck. I don't want to look at these fucking comments and it's hard for anybody, but for someone who's never done it sober, it was just a new scary thing. Now in hindsight, a big reason I was dry too is because I stopped hitting meetings as often. I was only hitting my main, it's called a home group. I was hitting that once a week. And I was focusing on my career now and myself and not focusing on my health and my mental health and my recovery. Because I'm also addicted to making music, and it was hard to balance both. So I was just dry as shit, man. That pink cloud went away. I started getting really depressed. Every time I'd walk by a bar, I'd be like, why can't I know how to fix this fucking feeling that I am hating right now, these nerves of being in the public eye again and being judged. Yeah, being vulnerable, putting myself out there. It's a scary thing, and I know how to fix it. It's right in that fucking room right there. It's right there. And, so I was feeling like, yeah, just dry. All right, now I'm releasing music, right? I am sober still, but I'm consumed by self-doubt and self-centered fear, and I'm not doing so hot. You know what I mean? But I still was sober, not because I wanted to be, but due to circumstance, because I had no other fucking choice. I had shows coming up, I had tours coming up. My manager would leave me, my girl would leave me. I couldn't exist in a regular society while using and drinking. So I was still set on being sober. And then all of a sudden, nothing was the same. There was no normal anymore. Society changed, and my first show got canceled, second show got canceled, and then my tour got canceled. That's when I realized that this was a real thing, this COVID thing. Because I remember, we thought this was going to be a month long maybe, and that we'll push our shows back a month, and the tour that's later in the year, that'll happen, of course. When it all got canceled, that's when my mind started to really wander, and that was the perfect excuse that now I can get fucked up, and I don't have any obligations. I don't have these responsibilities. So maybe I can get away with it this time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, me finding out that the world stopped and that everything was canceled, the fact that my first thought was I could get fucked up now, it's just further proof that I'm an alcoholic and I'm powerless. Because it's like the classic AA joke where you're like, oh, you're not an alcoholic, okay? If you went to the doctor tomorrow and he told you there's a new scientific study that just came out and it proves that you're actually not an alcoholic, what would you do? And the guy goes, I'd go drink. I'd go drink to celebrate the fact that I'm not an alcoholic. Exactly. Yeah, that's what it is. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Like, what would an alcoholic do if they found out they're not an alcoholic? They'd go drink and celebrate it. Yeah. I remember before COVID hit, this is how dry I was. Like, this is like the epitome of being dry. Fucking before COVID hit, like months before, I was fantasizing about ways that I could get away with getting fucked up. Like in my head, I was like, okay, after these shows are over, after my tour is over, I'll tell my manager and my family that I'm going on a sober getaway or something, like a retreat, like getting out of town. But really, I would just fucking rent a hotel for a week and just fucking relapse my ass off. And I was thinking of these little ways to get away with it and shit. And then COVID hit, and all of a sudden, I maybe can get away with it. At least in my dumbass addict mind, I thought maybe I could. So now we're at the point where I relapse. I don't remember the exact date it was. When would that be? Like February?
February, yeah, somewhere in there.
Somewhere like February or March.
We started kicking it.
Yeah, I think it was very early March, and I remember I made a very conscious decision to relapse. Some people, I'm not like these people, but some people, their relapse, I've heard a lot of stories that what happens to them is their relapse was sort of an accident, at least in their head. So they'd go to a bar with a friend at a birthday, and and their friends were taking shots, and they're like, I can have one shot. Drink, I can have one more, and then you kind of think, oh, maybe I'm a normal guy. Maybe I'll get drunk tonight. They didn't think they were relapsing. They thought they were maybe figured it out and were able to drink like normal again. My relapse was different. I was very fucking sure that I could not drink like a normal person. And it wasn't that I couldn't drink like a normal person. I didn't want to drink like a normal person. There was no part of me that was like, that was ever like, maybe I can have a glass of wine tonight. Like, why? For me, it was like, it's all or nothing. I like getting fucked up. So there was no part of me that was thinking I could do this normal. Yeah, so I went to my dope guy's house, bought a big bag of blow. I remember driving with the bag of blow, just feeling it in my pocket, burning there, like just talking to me, like my heart pounding, both because I'm kind of scared of I haven't like had to look over my shoulder in a while. I'm kind of a little paranoid already, thinking that they, yeah, and thinking they might have saw me. I don't know. I was just paranoid. I remember, and and I had dope in my pocket, and then I pull into the Safeway in Beacon Hill, and I'm looking around. Now I'm paranoid about motherfuckers in AA seeing me. Yeah, and this was before we all wore masks, so I didn't get to cover myself. This was still before that. Damn. So, yeah, so I was just kind of trying to do it quickly. I had it all planned in my head, like, if I run into someone like, oh yeah, they're having a party, I got to bring this for the girls or whatever. Drove home, and now this is like the what makes my drug use so pathetic and gross and just fucking not worth it. Like this was my ideal relapse was fucking sitting at home alone with a bottle of booze, a bag of blow, and like chilling and making music. Coke in the beginnings of my use. Cocaine was this social fun thing. Me and my friends would go in the bathroom and do a couple bumps together.
At the bar, at a party.
Yeah, at the bar at a party. I wouldn't even I wouldn't even have my own bag. I would, which is so crazy to think now that I was relying on other. So I would like get invited. I'm like, all right, I'll do a bump, and then and that was it. And it was a fun social thing, and it was fine. By the end of my craziness, I was just doing it alone. I didn't even want to be around people because I was doing so much of it that it would make me tweak the fuck out. Tweaking just means now you're paranoid. You close the blinds in the middle of the fucking day. Any noise you think it's your fucking dad for some reason who doesn't even live with you. You know, like, or you think it's the cops. Like I was just, and I liked that feeling. Like,
Which is not a fun feeling.
even though I hated it, I was addicted to it or something.
Yeah.
So I wanted to tweak, and the booze is mostly just to balance yourself out and level yourself out. Or at least I would say that. That might be another excuse, and really I'm just also an alcoholic. I went into this knowing I was going to relapse, and my drug of choice has always been a fifth of vodka and a bag of blow. I started getting half grams, and then it was grams, and then 8 balls. But at this point, I think I got a gram because my plan was I was going to relapse and go hard, but start early in the day. Because my thing is, my life the thing that fucks my life up the most is when I bender. Bender means stay up all night into the next day and then just keep fucking going. And that's when you're tweaking. And then you gotta sleep that off eventually. And I was doing like 3 days in a row. And that's what would fuck my life up the most because then I'd have to sleep for like 2 whole fucking days, miss calls, miss everything, let people down. So I was thinking now, okay, I'm gonna do it differently this time. I'm gonna start early in the day, finish the gram. 'Cause that's easy to finish a gram, especially if I'm drinking, whatever. And then go to sleep and wake up the next day. And I did it. I managed to just chug a bunch of NyQuil and pass out, and I didn't bender. And because I didn't bender, that got my mind wandering even more. Like, oh shit, maybe it's a new Sammy. Like maybe I can do this shit. Who you texting? Just wondered. What's he talking about?
I'm telling him to bring backwards.
Word. This is what we do. We find little ways that we think we can beat it. So I'm like, my new way of cheating the system was, I'm gonna set an alarm for 3 a.m. Once 3 a.m. hits, I chug NyQuil.
Boom, done.
And it worked for that day, and I was much better because I didn't want to turn into the person I used to be before I first got sober. You know how bad it got. So I wasn't doing it very often.
You were trying to control it.
I was trying to control it, and I was able to for a little bit.
Yeah.
And what we say, a big thing that people say in AA is, it works till it doesn't. And it's just like a fucking fact. Like, when I would tell people, like, hey man, like I'm not bendering anymore. I'm not doing it every day. I'm maybe doing it twice a week. I'm functioning. No one's mad at me. I'm not missing anything because there's no shows, and then I forget if I told everyone in AA right away. I know I told my close, yeah, I did. I told my sponsor and I told my close friends and family pretty much right away. I didn't want to, yeah. I told my friends. It wasn't something I wanted to hide from people, but I didn't want to, I guess I might get into this later, but I wasn't ready to go public about it. Oh, yes. Okay. So, what I forgot to mention is the other thing that happened when all my shows got shut down, also AA meetings shut down and got moved over to Zoom meetings. And this was when, Zoom was still new for everybody and shit. And I didn't like it. And so not to make this, because this is not an excuse once again, but there is a huge difference between in-person meetings where you're hugging each other and you're together in this, to all of a sudden this new Zoom thing that's actually over the last few months, Zoom meetings, I've gotten used to them, and they're pretty fucking great. I'm not knocking Zoom meetings at all, but my addict mind wanted to knock Zoom meetings, right? Because I loved telling people Zoom meetings aren't the same, man. Like the AA meetings, because especially people that didn't know, people would be so sympathetic to my relapse when I said, "Well, yeah, AA meetings shut down." Like I'd be like, "Yeah, everyone's relapsing nowadays, and it's hard," just to make myself feel better about the fact that I did it.
Like it was a thing. Like,
It was a thing.
yeah.
Motherfuckers were relapsing. Yeah, it was bad. But yeah, so my plan was to try to control this thing, and say, fuck Zoom AA. I'm going to be out of AA for a bit, and I'm going to be getting fucked up just on occasion, try to control it. And then when quarantine ends and everything goes back to normal in a couple months, naively thinking, in a couple months when it all goes back to normal, then AA will start back up. I'll start the 12 steps again, get a new sponsor. I'll do it all again. I'll be right back in it. And I kind of thought what would happen was quarantine would end. I would tell you guys, I would get back to being sober after I had maybe 30 days. Then I would tell you guys about my relapse because I wanted to keep it honest with you guys, and then be back on my shit. And yeah, quarantine didn't end. There was no end in sight. And I realized that I gotta stop this now, regardless of AA meetings opening back up, regardless of quarantine. I gotta stop this now, or I might not make it out alive. I might not make it to the end of quarantine, and still be here. And it started getting scary, And then my sort of plan was to try to get 30 days on my own, with some AA, but just try to get 30 days, and then make this vlog. I've been wanting to make this vlog for months, and I wanted to wait till I had some time, so I could kind of have a message of hope for you guys. Yeah. But I couldn't do it. I would get maybe 5-day stints. I don't know if some of you guys saw. I went to Ireland, and I was able to stay sober there for 2.5 weeks. So that was the longest I've gone during quarantine. Was 2.5 weeks sober. It's a lot easier for me to be sober when I'm not in Seattle, in my hometown, because I got dealers on speed dial. Every corner reminds me of who lives, what dope dealer lives here. It's just it's a hard place for me to be sober. But yeah, so now so now about why I'm choosing to go public about this now. I haven't kept it a secret. Whenever fans message me in my on the number that I have below, feel free to text me anytime. When I'm able to get back to people, I tell everyone that I talk to personally that I don't lie. I definitely have avoided comments about people saying, "How's sobriety going?" something like that when it's public. But when people message me directly, I tell them what's up. I say, "Hey, maybe don't. I haven't gone public with this yet. Maybe don't tell people, but I plan to soon." Yeah, and this is just fucking scary for me to do. It's out of my comfort zone, So I've been putting it off. And where I'm at right now, I'm not sober. I'm sober right at this moment, and I have it a lot more under control than I in the past. My career is doing well. I'm not letting people down. I'm doing okay, and I want you guys to know that I'm doing okay. But I am struggling with this, and it's something I'm working on. And I hope to be able to be more, to engage with you guys more now and make more of these vlogs and start podcasting without having to hide the fact that that I fucked up and I slipped, you know, and I want you guys to be able to relate, because I'm sure there's other people that have relapsed and feel like it's hopeless. The guilt and shame that I feel from my relapse, a lot of it stems from the fact that I'm hiding it. So this is also like, right, like this is a way to help myself. This is therapy for me. I want to be able to talk to you guys about it and be able to be candid about it. And for now on, that's what I'm going to be doing. I have to tell the truth. If I'm hiding, I start hiding more. I crumble. Lying is like a drug almost. It just gets worse and worse. Your lies get bigger and bigger, and you start to and you're not free. You're trapped in your own little like world of ball of lies, and it's just fucked.
It's a process.
And
You still want it.
yeah, and the fact that I'm now being honest and talking to my sponsors, I'm still showing up to AA meetings every week. I'm trying to go to more. I actually just started doing Cocaine Anonymous, which is dope because they're all the time, and that's the cool. And Zoom actually ended up being a dope thing in a lot of ways, because there's a meeting. I could hop on a meeting right now. It might not be in Seattle, but there's meetings. Yeah, Ryan went to one in Tampa the other day. Like, when you need it, it's there. And so I recommend doing the Zoom meetings, talking to people, even if like you're like me and you only have, I go into Zoom meetings and I have 1 or 2 days, and I say, "What up? I'm Sam. I'm a cokehead. I got a day and a half," and then I meet them, and they welcome me. They give me their numbers. I'm not trying to be a spokesperson for AA. There's tons of programs, but I'm just saying, if you're having a hard time in this quarantine shit, the Zoom stuff, I know it can get a bad rep, but it's helping me a lot right now. And I want you guys to know that relapse happens. I don't want you to think that my first time getting sober and I nailed it. It's a fucking hard thing to do. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. That's where I'm at right now. I have right now as we speak, I have about 2.5 days. I don't know what my plan is exactly, but I know that now that my plan is to be honest, to keep showing up, to keep telling the people in my life what's going on with me, and keep reaching out for help, because I know for a fact I can't do it on my own. Yeah, and I hope you guys, aren't too disappointed in me, and I am sorry that I didn't tell you guys about this sooner. It was fear, guilt, shame. A lot. It's a hard thing to do. And I am going to make a big effort to keep it more honest with you guys from now on, and make more of these videos. So yeah, that's one thing I'd appreciate if you left in the comments. Do you want me to make more of these weekly? I'm considering podcasting more, and keeping up with my recovery, podcasting with my friends who are also in recovery about how we're doing, and keeping each other accountable, being accountable to you guys, and just being honest. And that's my plan. That's all I got. Yeah, man. Let me know how you're doing. Talk to me. Hit me up. My phone number is in my bio. And this year, at the same time, it's been one of the worst years of my life, and of everyone's life, and also one of the best creatively. The music's been saving me, and you guys have been saving me. And so I think I owe it to you guys to keep it real and keep it honest. And yeah, thank you.